Today, we're going to do a little bit more subtracting with decimals by using change. So let's zoom into our story problem and look at what's going on. Lou bought a magazine for $3.85, and I always like to circle my story problems, and gave the clerk a $10 bill. And it wants to know how much change should he receive. So it's a subtraction problem. I want you to notice that they took the 10 and added 2 decimal places to make it 100. When they lined it up, they lined the decimals up in one line, so that way it's easy to do. And in fact, I'm just going to drop my decimal place, so that way when I subtract, it's going to be easier. Now we got to subtract. Well, I have 5 100s and 0 100s, so I can't take any away. Go next door to borrow a tenth, can't change that. Go next door to borrow a 1, can't change that. So I'm going to go next door and change that 10 to a 0. And now I have 10 ones. Now I can borrow 1 from that to make it into tenths. Now I have 10 tenths. I'm going to borrow one of those tenths. That makes that 9 tenths. And now I have 10 100ths. So 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 8 is 1. And 9 minus 3 is 6. So he received $6.15 in change. But the story problem then continues. It says the clerk counted the change as she placed it on the counter. 385 was the amount, and then she went to 390, adding 1 nickel, and then to $4, and I'm going to just put some letters on top, a nickel. Then she added a dime, and then she said $5, so that would be a $1, and then she gave $5, showing $6. So when she was done, the change on the counter was 1 nickel, 1 dime, and $1 bill, and a $5 bill, making the total $6.15. So on these problems, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to give a total, you're going to get the cost, you're going to turn in some type of money, and then we want to know how much change. So these are all subtraction problems, except for number 4. They want you to find the total first and then the change. So it's a two-part problem. So we should draw a line here and say total and change. Then they want to know on number 4. So let's put the change. So when we do this, when we subtract 20 from 489, we want to see if we had the right amount. Then they're going to give us amounts. So you need to add these up. And you're going to find out if you got the right amount. Number 7 is where I want to spend our time today, because it's going to be doing the same problems we're doing above, but breaking it down into a chart so you can see it a little bit easier. And remind you that we can always give out 2 nickels for every dime, but what we're trying to do is use the least amount of coins and bills possible, and that's what they're talking about right here. So Daniel got a new job as a cashier. She had to figure out how to make change using the fewest bills and coins possible. Below is a table showing the amount of the sale, the money given, and the change due, and the number of each kind of bill and coin she should give. Fill in line A. She filled in line A to help her fill in the rest. So let's start with B. I have $10, and I'm going to subtract $7.18. So I'm going to change this to a 9, and now I have 10 tenths. 10 tenths minus 8, or 10 hundredths minus 8 hundredths is 2 hundredths. 9 hundredths minus 1 hundredth is 800, or 8 tenths. Sorry, all the numbered letters are getting in my way. 9 minus 7 is 2. So her change due is $2.82. So we're going to start off with 2 pennies. Now, I know that if I subtract 2, I'm left with 280. Well, I know that if I have 1 nickel, and so now I'm going to subtract, I'm going to have 275. I know that 3/4 is 75 cents. And that leaves me $2. So then I have 2 $1 bills. Let's try that again, and I'm going to try to do it over here on the side. Let's do C. So the amount given was $30.04. Then the total amount, or the sell amount, was $26.54. 400ths minus 400ths is 0 hundredths. I have to borrow from up here, so this becomes 29. Now I have 10 tenths. 10 tenths minus 5 tenths is 5 tenths. I dropped my decimal. 9 minus 6 is 3, and 2 minus 2 is 0. So her total change was $3.50. Well, I know that 2/4 equals 50 cents. So I'm going to subtract 50 cents, and then I'm left with just $3. So 3 $1 bills. Give this a try. It goes pretty quickly once you get into the routine, and come see me during office hours if you need help.